Hello everyone. Today I have an excellent recipe for you that I'm so proud of because it's my own version. This is a standard 5-in-1 dosa batter or idli batter. I call it the 5-in-1 batter because I get to make idli, dosa, appam, Oothappam and Panayaram. These are all South Indian dishes, mostly for breakfast, and I pretty much make it all from the same batter. And it has 4 cups of idli rice, 1 cup of whole gota urad dal. Gota means round, whole urad dal. Okay, and 1 teaspoon of fenugreek, about 4 tablespoons of poha or pressed rice, or you could call parched rice. This is an option, but this is what I've always used. 4 cups of cooked rice and 2 teaspoons of salt, or more if you need it, if you like it more saltier. But this is a versatile, excellent batter that pretty much solves all your breakfast issues. If you are like me or my husband who like to eat a nice proper breakfast in the mornings, this is the route to go, because once you make the batter, it stays good in the refrigerator for 4 to 5 days or up to a week also. But mostly it's all done because we pretty much eat it every morning, and it's a very big batch. And we make dosa one day, idli one day, appam one day, and panayaram another day, and Oothappam another day. So it's a variety in one batter. So stay tuned and I'm going to show you each one. First, let me just show you the basic batter, and over a period of time I will make each individual dish and show you how it goes paired with different side dishes. Okay, this is a 5-in-1 batter. Okay, you grind it all. Actually, the urad gets ground first with the poha or let me trace back. The fenugreek first. You have to make it nice and soft, and add the poha or the cooked rice, not both. Okay, never the both. It's either one. Okay, if I don't have cooked rice, then I automatically use poha. This has to be soaked just couple of minutes before you start grinding, not ahead. This urad dal and rice gets soaked ahead of time, at least minimum of 3 hours to 8 hours. Okay, mostly people will soak it overnight, right before you go to bed. You soak them all, and in the morning you tend to grind them. Okay, and yeah, you can do it in a blender, or if you have the best mixie, it works fine too. But I use a wet grinder. I have an Ultra. I'm not promoting it. This is what I've used all my life making idli and dosa. It's an over the counter. It's a 110. Usually in India it's 220 volts. Here you get 110. And I actually brought it with me when I went to one of my India trips, and it's been here. It works excellent and grinds it beautifully. I grind the urad dal first along with fenugreek and the poha or rice. Then I take it out and then I add the rice. Okay, once that's done, then I mix all the two batters together and add salt and let it ferment for 8 to 12 hours. If it's winter, I just leave it in my oven. I turn it on to warm and then turn it off, and then put the batter in and let it sit overnight, because it does get cold. Even though it's California, it does get cold. So I want my batter fermented. And there's a lot of research done on fermented food first thing in the morning, especially for your gut health. So please do read about it on the University of Google or University of YouTube. There's tons of literature, and people have done research on fermented food. And this is how South Indian homes start their breakfast with. So first step is to soak each item individually. I will wash, rinse and soak it twice. Rinse it twice and soak it. Everything gets rinsed twice and then soaked in water all the way to the brim, and then I'm going to grind it after 3 hours. My urad dal, my rice, my fenugreek or methi, my pressed rice, or parched rice. Everything has been soaking. Fenugreek rice and urad dal have been soaking for almost 6 hours, and my parched rice, I just soaked it now like 2 or 3 minutes ago. It's already nicely disintegrating. I'm not using cooked rice today because I was really running short of it, so I wanted to make sure we have enough stuff to just get it going. So I have my fenugreek. We're going to start with the fenugreek first. I have my wet grinder all ready and set, and we're going to start grinding our 5-in-1 dosa batter. So this is what it looks inside. It has 2 rolling stones. My wet grinder is very handy and does it in a jiffy. I don't have to worry about it. If you have a Ninja or any other high-powered blender is great. I do recommend using a wet grinder for your dosa and idli batter. So we're going to snap it close. Everything has to be aligned. So snap it close. And turn it on. Here we go. That is the first ingredient. It does get really loud. Use a spatula to get the sides. Everything is incorporated. It takes a minute or two. Kind of feel it's ready to be added with other ingredients. So we have our pressed rice, our poha. Add that. This doesn't take long. And the trick with wet grinder is you never stop it. You just keep adding things as it runs. That's how it gets done. So right now I have my urad dal, gota urad dal or ulundhu. I'm going to add with less water. Don't add water at this point because ulundhu has absorbed the moisture. So we want less so it will grind perfectly well. So I'm going to add all my urad dal. I will show you later. Been like 5 minutes, and now and then keep an eye on the batter. Make sure you add a little water if necessary, if your machine is struggling to grind it. Add teeny water and also scrape the sides now and then. Always keep a spatula handy. I don't like to basically put hand in the batter. It gets to be a messy job. With a spatula. I love my Betty Crocker. They're the best spatula ever. And I've used it for years. Just eyeballing and using some water. Maybe half a cup. Actually been a bit close to 20 minutes. But I still see that it's a little more coarse. I would like it to be a bit more soft. So I'm going to let it spin for another 5 more minutes. I add a little bit of water and let's see. Good urad dal will actually double up in size. So make sure you get good quality urad dal. And try different brands in the Indian store because different brands vary. It's all trial and error. So try it out. Make sure to keep the lid on while you're not close by, because sometimes the dough may get overexcited and fly away. I'm just kidding. Just for precaution's sake. It's been almost 25 to 30 minutes. My urad dal looks good, almost close to being done. and it's nice and frothy. The air has been incorporated. So just test, how do you know the urad dal is done? Keep a bowl of water and just toss it. Your urad has to float. It won't sink, but it will float. That means it's nice and fluffy and aerated enough that it can take it out. So we're going to stop our grinder. Wow, that was loud. And then open the lid. Be careful. And then we're going to scoop every bit of it and put it in a container, a designated container, I must say, because we need a big enough bowl to mix both the rice flour batter as well as urad batter. Okay, and it has to ferment also, so it'll again increase in volume. So make sure you start with a nice big sized vessel so you can have it all accommodated. So I've scooped out most of my urad dal from the container. Oh my gosh, that looks messy. You'll be a lot neater than me. And I'm not going to wash this or rinse it, nothing. We're just going to add rice to this and get on with our rice. So I snapped my bowl back into the wet grinder, and I remember the ulundhu test that we did to see if it is done. The same test is done for ulundhu vada, like Medhu Vada. When you make that, that's the same thing you do. Check the consistency. And sometimes I add extra ulundhu when I'm soaking for dosa batter and midway pull out some, so I can make Medhu Vada while I make my idli and dosa and everything else. So it's again, instead of 4-in-1 or 5-in-1, this could be another one added to this recipe. If you plan ahead, you can pull out some batter from the ulundh and make ulundhu vada or Medhu Vada. Okay, just another handy tip I thought I could add. Okay, so now we're going to grind the rice. Turn on the machine and make sure to add water first. Don't make the mistake of adding rice, then it's going to get stuck. So first add some water and then start adding rice a little bit at a time. Okay, that'll really help the machine moving. So add all the rice, and I'll come back in another 10 to 15 minutes to let it all grind. Set the timer and get doing your dishes or whatever you need to get done. Rice has been added, it's going well. Now and then check if the consistency is going good. The machine should not be struggling and heating up. So just be careful, keep an eye on it. Even though the timer is on, make sure the water is adequate. And also scrape down the sides, and at this point I will add 2 teaspoons of salt, so it will all get blended in. Again, salt is only as per your taste. I'd like to add 2 teaspoons, and don't stop the machine, just add it, it will all get mixed up. Okay, and your rice batter should be slightly coarser, not as soft as the urad dal. Okay, ulundhu, urad, everything is the same. Okay, I'm just speaking a little bit of Hindi and Tamil, so for whoever it is, please do understand, because I have friends both north, east, west and south who are crazy about dosa, idli and vada and all that stuff. So I'm gonna be talking in different languages and using the ingredients names in different languages. So go with the flow. So the rice has been grinding for almost 20 minutes, and of course make sure it's put the lid on so that it doesn't fly everywhere. And right now you can do a test of just touching a little bit of the dough on your fingers and making sure you don't have too coarse a batter. I think this is quite done. So I'm going to turn it off, and now we'll toss the rice batter with the urad batter. So let's switch it off, unhook, and now we're going to take this out and mix it with the ulundhu or urad batter. So I poured both my ulundhu and my rice batter in one big bowl, making sure there's enough gap on the top, so when it ferments it's going to rise up. So while I'm going to do the mixing, I'm going to turn on my oven. It's winter here in California, and temperature is kind of low. It will take a while to let it ferment. Summers there's no problem, you can leave the batter outside and it'll ferment very well. And usually I do it overnight, and it needs about 6 to 12 hours to ferment. Since it's winter, I'm going to turn on my oven to warm temperature or 200 degrees and then let it I'll turn it off and then put the batter in. Okay, so make sure you turn off the oven. So I'm going to set my temperature. I put it at bake, and the lowest temperature that I have is about 175 to 200. I'm going to set it at 200 and start it. So my oven is heating up. Once it's heated through and then the indication comes, I'm going to turn it off and then put the batter in the oven for overnight, because it needs a steady temperature to ferment. So now I'm going to mix this well, because the ulundhu is at the bottom, the urad dal is at the bottom. You see the color difference. So incorporate well, combine both well, mix it all well. Salt is already there. We put it in the rice batter. So give it a good mix and clean up the sides and put a lid and put it in the oven for 8 to 12 hours. But make sure to turn off the oven. That is very, very important. Otherwise you'll have a big mess in the morning. You won't have batter, but you will have a big mess, and that batter will have to be thrown away. This is just a precaution, okay? You'll be sensible to, turn it off and put the batter in. We're not cooking the batter. We're just going to let it ferment. Okay. My oven has come to the temperature. It's 200 degrees. So I'm going to put my batter in, but before that I have one cleaning step that I want to show you. So after I removed all the batter completely, to just make your cleaning easy, turn on the machine again and add some water. Okay, a little bit of water. That will actually help loosen all this extra dough that is stuck, and you can add it to the batter. So here's the grinder washings. Don't miss any of the goodness. So we're going to add it into the batter. So this is completely mixed in. Now I'll mix in again, now that we added some liquid, and then put it in the oven, and make sure the oven is off, and then leave it overnight for 8 to 12 hours to ferment completely. And tomorrow morning the batter will be all ready to be used. You can make dosa, idli, Oothappam, Appam and Panayaram. And if you take out the ulundhu ahead of time, say if you add extra half a cup and you pull it out, you can even make your Medhu Vada, okay, or ulundhu vada. Okay, so this is a great recipe. Try it. I'm going to show how the batter looks once it's fermented. So right now it's going to go into the oven for the night. So good night everyone. Like, share and subscribe if you like, and let me know if you want me to make more such videos. These are all trial and error. Come to think of it, I had no clue how to even boil water when I got married, and I hated to eat idli. But now after marriage, and my husband loves to eat South Indian food, I've learnt all this by trial and error. Somebody who had no clue how to boil water is now making idli and dosa and everything. So you can too. Alright, take care. Bye. So it's the next morning after I put my dosa batter in the oven to ferment. Let's see how it looks. So I have my big pail and a small one because I knew this wouldn't be enough for the batter to rise and ferment. Look how beautiful it looks. It was actually right here, but it rose up here, and I transferred some into a smaller bowl because this morning I'm going to make a dosa, and I didn't want to mess up this bit. So this will go directly into the refrigerator now and stay good for almost a week. And this one I'm going to use today for breakfast and have it with chutney. And I'll show you recipes in the next videos of how to do dosa, idli, appam, Oothappam and Panayaram. And if possible, I will do a video on Medhu Vada also, how I make the urad dal. I mean, take out some from the urad dal while I make for dosa and make vada as well. So this is how it looks. So for summer, this is not an option. You can just leave it out on the counter and it'll ferment, because California the sun is quite hot. And in winters, this is the option to warm your oven at 200 degrees, cool it down, not cool it down, turn it off and put your batter in overnight, and it'll be good to go the next morning. Okay, 8 to 12 hours is what is the standard time to ferment. And please refrigerate the dough, because it won't stay good if you leave it outside. Okay, enjoy. Hope this video was useful. Like, share and subscribe, and let me see the next videos follows. Keep an eye out for it. Okay, have a great day. Bye.